Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the show. Today we're talking Toylanta 2025. We're doing a recap of the show and we're going to talk about my hauls from the show. Toylanta 2025 took place at the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth, Georgia, which is not that far from Atlanta, Georgia. So after the convention ends, you can go shopping and eating to your heart's content in Atlanta or some of the fine places in Duluth. But if I were you, I would stay at one of the official hotels of the convention and do some toy swapping or whatever else they have going on, like the Fall of Grayskull showing. This time, Toylanta decided to pull in PowerCon and add them into the mix to make an even better toy convention. Now, will this happen going forward? I don't know. I don't know the dynamics between PowerCon and Toylanta. But all I do know is this was a really, really good show. Last year when I went to Toylanta 2024, it was in a smaller venue. And I had my issues. You can go back and look at the video I did for it. Not to say it was a bad show. It was just, there was some issues with parking and the tightness of it and all that. And Toylanta 2025 made up for it in droves. Now that this convention has moved to this new location, it has plenty of room to move about, plenty of room for parking, and plenty of room to expand if they want to. And when I say expand, I mean they could easily maybe double or even triple the size of the show if it called for it. And I hope that this year is just the beginning and it does grow into something like that. Now, not only did they have the downstairs main hall venue where you have just tons and tons of toy vendors, toy creators, and celebrities, but they even had them upstairs, down the hall, in multiple rooms upstairs. It was really, really rad to see all of this stuff. Now, if you've never been to something like this, I highly suggest you go, because if you're into the independent toy maker scene, or if you're just into buying toys, this is the place for you to be. Not only do you have tons of vendors who are selling vintage and modern toys, but you also have access to these independent toy makers like Four Horsemen Studios, Spiro Toys, Savage Crucible people, the Creative Beast Studio, Odd Frog Entertainment. They are all there, and they have booths showing you all their latest toys. Even that dragon from Four Horsemen Studio was on display, which I think the Kickstarter ends tonight. So if you want that, you better get to it. This is a Sunday night when this is going to be released. Remember that. But they are there. If you've ever wanted to talk to them, get ideas, see what they have before you buy, this is the time to do it, because they are there not only to sell stuff, but to answer your questions, show off what they have. Now, the toy deals were many. There's lots of vintage stuff out there. I specifically was going for superpowers, and we'll get to that in just a minute. And there was a lot of superpowers there, a lot of carded, a lot of loose. I'm particularly looking for loose complete because I don't have the money to go after that carded stuff right now. But I also picked up a little something else besides just, some of that stuff. Particularly, I'm a DC fan, so I was looking at all the DC stuff. Now, I was looking also for some DC Universe Classic stuff, but I didn't see anything I thought was priced correctly. Not saying that I'm the end-all, be-all of DC Universe Classics pricing. It was just more than I was willing to spend at that time. After the show, there's always cool things to do at the hotels. Not only did you have a toy swap at one hotel, you had a doll swap at the other one. Now, I was at the hotel with the doll swap. Not my thing, mind you, but I did go down, visit, take a look at what people had. Lots of Barbies, My Little Pony, things of that nature. But there was a lot of people there, and it looked like they were enjoying themselves, so who am I to begrudge somebody to have a good time, even though it really wasn't my thing? But there was also the Fall of Grayskull preview or showing at that particular hotel as well. I didn't catch that because I got in a little too late and I didn't want to come in, halfway through it. I stayed at the convention a little bit longer than I probably should have, and I kind of missed the first 10, 15 minutes of that showing. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed the coverage I've had, and if you hadn't seen that, hit that subscribe button. Go back, look at some of the convention coverage, okay? Don't leave me hanging here. And if you start a video, make sure you watch it to the end. You know the deal. So let's take a look at what I got at the convention. First up, as far as vintage superpowers goes, I bought 3 figures. Now, first up is Desaad. This is one of the figures I didn't have as a kid, and now I'm glad I got him. He didn't come with his vac metal hoses around the side, so I'm gonna have to go search for those, and it's probably gonna be ridiculous. Probably gonna pay as much for those as I did for the figure. But the figure had a good face, no paint scuffs or anything like that, so that was one of the reasons that I went ahead and pulled the trigger on him. Next up was Red Tornado. Had him as a kid, and he was one of my favorite. This is a fairly minty Red Tornado. The cape is really, really sharp on this one, so I'm glad I found this guy and he can go onto the shelf. And finally, I picked up a Parademon. He didn't come with his little yellow gun, but I never had a Parademon as a kid either, and now I've got one. Taking all that into account, you can see what I paid for him. The Parademon and Red Tornado both were 25 bucks, and the side was 30. Together, that is $80, but I didn't pay $80 for all 3 figures. Actually, I paid $60. And the only reason I paid $60 was because earlier in the month, I sold a Kang figure. Well, I didn't actually trade money didn't trade hands, but I told him I would hold it for him for Toylanta. I met him at Toylanta, gave him the Kang figure. He gave me the money, so I had $60 on me. That way I can make a deal for the Superpowers figures. Next up, I was visiting the Fantastic Toys booth, and not only did he have his toys that he's normally selling, but he was getting out of the DC McFarlane Superpowers line, his personal collection. So he just brought them all, put them on the shelf to sell. And I'm glad I got there when I did. Now, a lot of these figures, if you recall, I used to own and I sold stupidly, and now I'm getting them back. You can currently see what I have on the shelf here, which I'll be adding to very shortly. But some of these I've even already done reviews on, but I'm adding them back now. And the only reason I'm adding them back now is because of the price. I couldn't pass this up. So the first up is this first edition Wonder Woman for $5. Yeah, I'm gonna get it. Next up, Superman for $5. Not the best Superman by any means, but yeah, $5. I sold mine. Sure. Another first edition Green Lantern John Stewart. Again, sold mine. $5. Yeah. Hey, Flash. $5. Yep. Darkseid, not on the shelf. Back in the collection. $5. Deathstroke. $5. Back in the collection. Well worth it in my opinion for $5. Yeah. Another item that I've already sold before, done a review. Check them out. Yep. The Supermobile. Still sealed, $5. You know I'm going to get it. This one I never did add to the collection, so for $5, you could bet I'm going to get this. I mean, who wouldn't for $5? Still sealed. And finally, the Batmobile. Now, I never bought this one because I never could find it at Walmart for whatever reason. And $10. $10. Yeah, he's going to look good next to my vintage Batmobile. And that concludes my DC purchases. Now, I did buy one more thing, and it wasn't DC related, but I kind of had to have it, right? Because you're going to Toylanta, get the Toylanta exclusive. So here's the ATL 25 from Four Horsemen Studios. I believe this is part of the Cosmic Legions line, or something like that. I'm not the person that would know all the cool stuff about the Four Horsemen Studio. Believe me, they put out some fantastic figures. They are just above and beyond anything you're going to find on toy store shelves right now. If you go to Walmart, Target, you're not going to find anything comparable to this. These are just out of the park as far as articulation, paint jobs, detail, accessories. It's ridiculous. Now, this was, I believe, $50, but a 6-inch action figure. But just look at that. I mean, this guy is just fantastic. And ATL, come on, look at that. ATL 25, Artillery Team Leader. You can't beat that. I had to pick him up because, like I said, he was an exclusive, and the first exclusive from Toylanta that I know of. I don't think there was an exclusive last year, but really not no, but I'm going to get him. Toylanta 2025 was a fantastic experience. From getting to meet toy creators to toy collectors to everything in between. I had an awesome time. This is one of those shows that I wish could just happen twice a year, and sort of kind of does with Joelanta, being the sister show to Toylanta, but not on the same scale. This is just beyond that. I highly recommend, if you get the chance, go to Toylanta 2026 next year. Save up your money and get ready to blow it, because you're gonna find something that you have to have at this convention. So that's it for this show. I hope you enjoyed my coverage of Toylanta 2025 over this past week. I highly suggest you subscribe, go back, watch some videos all the way to the end, complete the video, hit the like button, make a comment down there too. Help my channel grow. That would be awesome if you would do that. And remember, as always, God bless.